Hello and welcome to the Dead Air Dudes. I'm Izzy. I'm Izzy.
I'm Raka, and you are Dead Dudes Nation. Thank you for joining us again today. And as always, thank you for liking and supporting our endeavors as we take you through all things horror, true crime, movies, Hollywood, comic books, food, beer, whiskey, wine, everything under the sun, because that's what us at Dead Dudes do.
And ASMR. Do not forget Raka's famous horror and ASMR. That being said, we're back with another episode of the True Crime series. I do believe it's part 15 or episode 15 of that series. Today we have the Green River Killer, or better known as Gary Leon Ridgway.
Leon!
Okay, now, this guy is a particular kind of scumbag, so...
We hunkered down for a while in the great California state,
Yes.
as expansive as it is. We're going to take you now to the Pacific Northwest, and in particular to Tacoma, Seattle, Washington area.
Kings County, Washington.
And as the name suggests, the Green River.
Yes. So, you want to take it away, or should I start?
All right. So Gary Leon Ridgway, born February 18, 1949. So this is a while back. He actually was born in Utah,
Yes.
Salt Lake City.
Yes.
And he had a pretty odd beginnings. I don't know if you want to get into it. Just the schematics of it all. His dad was pretty tough.
Yes. His mother was tough.
Say again?
No, his mother was pretty tough as well.
Yeah, I think they were pretty religious.
Yes.
Strict.
Well, obviously, Salt Lake, Utah, there's no offense to Utah, but we do know that the area, it's very religious. In particular, a certain kind of religion, which I don't want to, offend anyone, but yeah. So his mother was very domineering and would basically he witnessed a lot of. Say again?
He was abusive in many ways.
He was abused in many ways. He witnessed a lot of fights between his parents, and she would belittle him. His mother, would belittle him in front of his family, and he was bedwetter up until the age of 13.
Yes. In particular, the bedwetting. She would really embarrass him.
Yes.
Challenge his manhood, berate him. Really, really, pun intended, take his pants down in front of everybody because of the persistent bedwetting. It was a very tough household.
Yeah.
The dad worked a bus driver, and he would complain about sex workers on his route. And this plays in later huge, like daddy, like son. So that's a big, big thing in his MO. And so many violent arguments between mom and dad, and throw in the bedwetting and throw in the embarrassment. It gets weird. The mom used to wash his genitals after every episode. This is up into his teen years. You get a little self-conscious.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure she did it to make him feel uncomfortable more than actually, the actual act of washing the genitals. And then he, in his adolescent life, he made this a point that it actually, again, Oedipus complex kind of turned him on, and he almost felt strangely aroused and at the same time disgusted, convicted feeling of he was upset and pissed off and anger and hated and had fantasies of killing his mother.
Yes. Now, this does not help that Gary Ridgway was not a very good student.
No, he was pretty stupid. Okay.
Supposedly on the IQ exam, which again you can debate left and right about the accuracy of such an exam. But
Yeah,
he scored an 80.
I think it
An
was
80.
yeah, I think it was 82, 88.
You know, I think average intelligence between 90 and 110, like, you know, maybe 100 is an average. So he's well below average. And this is, mind you, the 50s, right?
Right.
50s and into early 60s. He had dyslexia, which has always been known. Like everybody throughout time could tell, you know, in written or in sight, you kind of invert things or backwards. But unfortunately, at this time, uh, early adolescent childhood psychology has not progressed to a point where dyslexia and other learning disabilities or learning challenges tie into other things of your psychology, your makeup, your psyche. Uh, this does not mean you have dyslexia, you're going to be a serial killer. No,
No.
what we're saying here is that there's more today developmental help,
Yeah.
and sometimes dyslexia and other learning disabilities lead to other disabilities, not to mention self-confidence and emotional growth and all that stuff. So he gets embarrassed at school, he gets embarrassed at home. And as we investigate and re-examine his murderous habits, he's not an idiot.
No, not at all.
By
In
far.
fact, his MO, the way he plans everything, the whole thing he made up about the clusters shows that he is not stupid. So either
Oh, he's actually rather intelligent.
yes. So I mean,
Which is
one
why
thing
the
is to be
test
book smart, and one thing is to be not give a shit about tests. But the dude was intelligent, and he only got
extremely.
caught because unfortunately he fell within the realm of CSI, basically.
You're right. When modern day DNA caught up.
Exactly. He's one of the first ones who got called by modern day when the technology caught up to all the BS. You know, but we'll get into that. So, you know, but yes, it's a direct result of that. So, I mean, and that's not, you know, bypass or forego the fact when he was 16, he actually took a classmate into the woods and stabbed him in the chest into his liver. The kid survived,
He was in the
but
hospital for 6 weeks. This kid.
the
I mean,
quote, according to Gary Ridgway, I always wondered what it would be like to kill someone. Now, okay. Now, all of a sudden, at 16, my alarms go off. Just saying. I don't know.
well, okay. And then what's the other thing? The third component to his McDonald's triad, if you will.
Yes.
He took a pistol and he liked to shoot the birds.
Of
Not
course.
for hunting, not for sport, not for food. He just liked to shoot the birds.
For shit
So
giggles.
animal cruelty, bedwetting. I mean, the only thing lacking here is if you like to play with fire, which I don't really think that's a game changer. I don't think that's significant in any way.
Well, yeah, I mean,
He stabbed a kid at 16.
just to see if it would, just to see. I mean, you know.
So forget about cruelty to animals. He stabbed the dude at 16. And what's surprising is, and I don't know, they glaze over this in many of my research. What did he get out of stabbing the kid at 16? What penalty? What arrest? What juvenile hall? What?
From everything I've read, he got nothing out of it. I mean, look,
Exactly.
you guys know, let us know, because from everything that I've researched, they kind of glazed over it, you know. And
so that's the buildup of his childhood. And
I'd
his
be remiss to say, please like, subscribe, and comment. And thank you to everybody. And warning,
yeah. A little late, I know.
viewer discretion is advised. That's all I'm gonna say. How about that?
Yeah. So
viewer discretion.
you're already this far deep into it.
Discretion is advised as well.
Yeah, you're this far deep into it already. You know what you're in for. All right. So let's fast forward now to his adult life, which is technically 18 and over.
Mm-hmm.
He marries at 19 years old his high school girlfriend.
Yep.
So he marries her early, young.
Now,
But then he joins the military. He joins the United States Navy in 1969.
what happens?
And
What happens?
what
happens?
So this guy, he's already has issues,
mm-hmm.
and they sent him to Nam.
Yes.
And he goes to Nam where he does see significant combat.
Yes.
But he has frequent interactions with the prostitutes.
Yes, he has a predilection for prostitutes. He has a predilection. Sorry.
Oh, big predilection, and to the point that he contracted gonorrhea. Now he's married,
but
he's a serviceman. He's overseas.
He got gonorrhea twice. He got. Why? Because he refused to partake in safe sex.
He didn't want to wear the Jimmy. He went in deep, straight raw, overseas.
And of course, it pissed him off, but he continued to go raw. Now, again, look, he's 19 years old. You're in you're in Vietnam, whatever, but already you had all the drama that he's seen with his dad, who also had a fat, he cavorted with women of the night, and now he does, okay, to the point where it ends his marriage. His first marriage, by the way.
Right. I think there was infidelity on both sides, but it doesn't matter.
You can imagine. I mean,
it doesn't matter. You come back from overseas and you got a bout with gonorrhea.
That's a whole different episode, a whole different thing where,
Yeah, but I'm just saying you weren't no angel.
Of course not.
Yeah, too.
But it also fits in his whole story. It just fits right in on why he would feel this way in his warped mind to do these things. I mean,
now what happens with wife number 2?
Do tell.
So wife number 2, yes, infidelity happens again. He does not give up his side hobby with prostitutes. He steps out, he goes and still sees them, even though accounts are he gets violent and upset at the prostitutes. He hates them. He'll spit at them. He'll berate them, but he still will engage with them. So for what it is,
he becomes he really gets to religion at this point.
Right. Now the difference between marriage 1 and now marriage 2 is marriage 2, he gets violent.
Yes.
So again, Gary does what Gary sees. Gary witnessed domestic violence in his home growing up. I'm not saying this is the reason why, or he should stop, or just because you see it, you're going to do it. But he saw it as a child, so he puts his second wife in a chokehold, amongst other things, amongst other things that weren't reported. I firmly believe that if you are
on his wife, he practiced. I think.
Yeah, if you are in a domestic violence situation, right? It's hard pressed for me or anybody out there with a logical sequencing brain to believe it's a one-time occurrence. He only laid his hands on me once. My ass. So this happens often. Not only that, he quotes the Bible.
Yeah, he would.
He gets religious and then he gets violent.
He would frequently quote the Bible. He would cry after sermons, and after reading the Bible, and then after crying, and he would get violent, which is like, whoa. So then, if you get violent, then why are you reading the Bible? And again, this is no knock against religion, please, or anything of that nature, but it's two sides of the same coin in the sense that he is doing one thing and then not following the other.
Now, what gets crazy is that the accounts were, and I think this is the same account for his third wife. Yes, he gets married 3 times. So this man has the charm of 3 different women.
Which is so crazy. I mean, this dude is a real piece of shit, and He has.
But this is sicko. This is sicko level.
Well,
He
yeah.
reads the Bible.
Mm.
He cries. He
Mm-hmm.
laments.
Mm-hmm.
It gets so emotionally entangled into what he's reading that it bothers him to his core that he has to lash out with emotional drainage. But at the same time, he demands sex all the time.
Yes,
He
up to
demands
7 times a day.
yes.
After everything,
I mean,
his
lions in heat
three
would be so lucky.
and several
Yes.
ex-girlfriends said he needed up to several times a day, which is okay. I mean, shit, rock on. But
I mean, I don't know what aphrodisiac this man is on. I don't know what he's smoking, what kind of incense and candles that he's lighting home.
I
But
mean,
more power to him in that sense.
he also
So
wanted to take his wife into and have her. They would have. He wanted them to have sex in public places, and basically his love-hate relationship with prostitutes. He wanted to eliminate that and supplant that with
oh,
his wife, I
he
suppose,
would
in a
he
way.
would go on legendary tirades
Mm-hmm.
about killing them all.
Yes.
So in addition to the Bible, sex on demand, and eliminating every prostitute on the planet, he still would frequent the prostitutes.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. There was I mean, we'll get into it, but this is just a quick quote from him, which leads into what we're talking about. I picked prostitutes as my victims because I hate most prostitutes and I did not want to pay them for sex. And it was easy to pick up, and it was easy to pick them up without being noticed. I knew that they would not be reported missing right away. I took their jewelry and their clothes to get rid of any evidence and make them harder to identify.
so we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, we will.
I don't know the exact date. I think it's in '85. So mind you, he's been doing his little thing for a while. In the Green River. So the Green River is a main river in, I guess, that Seattle, Tacoma area. Um, it's a main river. It's a big river, but it's the main river. I think in '85 it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. That there were these kids playing near
Yeah,
the
the
river.
river is the 65-mile long river in Washington, arising on the western slopes of the Cascade Range south of Interstate 90. Looks pretty
And
nice
so
from the pictures.
I think 4 teenagers have come across a dead body.
You're right.
And they reported to police. Their innocence is now lost. It's their forever changed. What's going on? The summer of that year, I think 4 or 5 more bodies were discovered in the river. Same MO. I think strangulation, bodies dumped in the river. So as soon as body number 1, 2, and 3 start popping up, it's pretty clear the Green River area has a serial killer on their hands.
Yep.
Now, yes, this is mid-'80s. DNA and other
82 and 84. I mean, but they really don't know because there's so many. I mean, he was 49 official. It could be as high as 71, and it could be higher than that. It could be, but he got caught for 40, 48, 49.
So the police were baffled and they really had no leads. So they enlisted the help of federal agencies. And I think you have the name of the person who was a big up and comer and one of the fathers of serial killer profiling.
Yeah, John Douglas or Johnny Douglas, depends how you want to, He wrote many books. He did the whole Bundy, and he also wrote the book that was the basis of the show Mindhunter. So he was one of the first criminal circular profilers in America. Yeah, he was part of the task force that was assigned to the Green River Killer, along with Robert Keppel and Dave Reicher. Sorry if I mangled those names, but yeah. Which in turn also we'll get into that, but they also enlisted the help or at least the advice of one Ted Bundy, which is
yes. So, folks, this is what movies are made of. This is
which is
Hannibal.
yeah. This is like you can't make stuff. This is like something you probably saw this and like, you know what, we gotta write this down and turn it into a Silence of the Lambs or something.
I mean, this is right out of well, this is what fed the book and Buffalo Bill getting notoriety and getting to the point where the FBI was like, listen, you need one to catch one.
And the funny thing, that Buffalo Bill was also at game, which we will get to.
Right.
In a
So
further episode.
So you it's not so much that he's head and shoulders above everybody else as far as like a genius serial killer. He wasn't an idiot.
No.
He was kind of sloppy in a sense where he would throw bodies just in the river, although more bodies were popping up all over the place.
But there was after reason, there was a reason why he dumped the bodies in the river, or a reason why. And once he figured out, I guess he was a bit challenged or a bit not that smart, because once he figured out, oh shoot, maybe I get caught, I have to not make it, because he called, when he dumped the body in the river, he dumped them naked. He would strip them, kill them, come back, have sex.
Necrophilia,
yes. And then he would dispatch, but there would have to be, and he would leave them all together in groups, or what he called clusters. And when the clusters got too big, because he would like to come back and visit those clusters, drive by and think of the women.
Well, he's got to get it 7 times in a day.
Yes. But then he would read, oh, wait, I should make another cluster because it's too big. And the crazy thing, or not the crazy thing, let me rephrase that, is that he liked young women. And when I say young, we're talking about young, and we're talking about, yes, even, underage women. Except for, I do believe, 1 or 2 were over the age of even 30. Okay?
Well, yeah, but by and large, they were prostitutes.
Or runaways, yeah.
Right. So, you're talking about those that won't be missed so much, and then those that are on the fringe of society.
He said it, yeah. I mean,
This is where I think not enough credit was given to him as far as he was a really, really clever cat. He would collect from all different sorts of people, all different walks of life, cigarettes, post-its, notes, receipts, anything, kind of like to throw the cops off the track. So he would intentionally plant from random people bits and pieces of misinformation.
Yep.
And you got to give kudos, because this is such premeditated stuff that he really did not want to get caught so he can continue doing his thing.
Yeah.
That he wouldn't just strip them and throw them in the river.
No.
His clusters, his groups, areas where you think the last person was found or last person was witnessed to be, he would plant evidence to throw people off and to give misinformation, to the point that, yes, the local police, sheriffs in the state of Washington could not do anything at this point. Mm-hmm. They had no leads. They were handcuffed. But this guy was not completely perfect.
No, because, of course, he got caught. He got arrested. For what? Prostitution. Wah, wah. And then
this
what did they do?
Back to the last serial killer we did.
Scoreboard?
In California.
Scorecard, sorry.
The scorecard killer, where if it weren't for a blunder of driving
Well, he was, yeah.
while he had a dead body in the shotgun seat on his way to dispatch him somewhere, bury him, or throw him
Check
off
out
the
that
highway.
episode 99.
Very proud, very, very proud plug. If it weren't for a faux pas like that, he could have kept going and going and going because there was no leads. Although the profilers, and as you brought up, Mr. convicted, incarcerated Ted Bundy actually told them he likes to visit his trophies.
Exactly. He even told him,
Out.
if you see an open grave, stand there or wait for him, he'll show up. Now, obviously, that never happened. So they kind of poo-pooed all of Bundy's things. So it kind of comes off as so what? More of a cute anecdote or a cute asterisk that Ted Bundy was involved in the case. Now, who knows what the truth is?
But Bundy was right.
Of course he was.
But Bundy was right.
Yes, he was.
He was right. The only problem is it's a flawed tactic because if you uncover a burial site that he had, he's not going back there.
Exactly. They never get the credit for it because, he's another shit
scum. So it's also flawed on Ted Bundy's part where it's like, we don't know where the other burial sites are.
So.
So,
yeah, in a previous arrest, he got freaking caught, and they obviously took DNA from saliva. So they had records. That's it. I mean,
records to the point now where I think this was it 89 when he ended up getting caught. When was he?
No, he ended up getting caught at what? 01, I think he got caught. He actually got caught officially. Yeah, he got caught in 01.
When in 87 they took the hair and saliva samples.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. He was arrested in 01 on charges from prostitution. He was arrested in 82 and in 01 on charges related to prostitution. Okay. At that point in 82, by 83, he was already a suspect in the Green River killings. Okay. But in 84, he passed a lie detector test, a polygraph. He passed it. So already. Now, another thing, and this is not no knock against the military, but I mean, how many serial killers have we talked about who have been in the military? Okay.
Well, even more so, they had him. They didn't have him dead to rights, but they had him as a suspect.
Yeah.
He took a lie detector test and passed with flying colors. In addition to that, I think there was a few murders thereafter. He actually called them to drop a tip or something. I mean, you want to spit in the eye of law enforcement. I mean, more power to you.
Or maybe this is where the 82 IQ kind of, came in that, I mean, come on. So in 87, they took the hair and saliva samples. So it's
it wasn't until 2001.
Mm-hmm. With working in a Kenworth truck factory.
And the co-worker said they never seen anything like it. It was the biggest raid that the state of Washington had performed on an arrest.
Well, dude, I mean,
because I think of everything that's happened in the state of Washington, the numerous amounts of missing persons and the bodies found, they couldn't screw this up.
By the way, at that point, they only had 4 people, only had 4 victims. I mean, I'm not trying to demean that as, oh my God, it's only 4. But to the level that this guy has his body count, and I mean that in the worst way possible, is 4 is nothing. And they did all this for 4 people, which after that, scientists and freaking forensic, people, they actually found out from his job that the particular paint that they used had the Kenworth truck factory matched spheres from previous victims, and because he did his stuff in the car, at home, in his truck. It was so they matched it up, and then they added 3 more victims to that. So when he was arrested, there were 7 to his name. Okay.
I mean, other than finding a weapon and handprints on a weapon,
no, it wasn't as nice as a as a scorecard or as tight and that as tight a case as Ning and Leonard Lake. So Ing and Leonard Lake.
They had them as close as they could to dead to rights.
Yes.
And here's the graphic reality: is there really was no weapon involved except this.
Yeah, I mean he did use I think it's
performing sexual acts, and at the height of the sexual act, he would reach around, and I assume he was a quite powerful person, but he also was trained in the military, so he knows how to kill. And he would reach around and literally suffocate them, break their necks.
Yeah, he would take them from behind. He would set them from behind, and then they wouldn't notice. And then he would take his forearm around their neck, and then he would obviously. But even he noticed this, that after a while, he noticed that he would have marks on his body, on his arms, from them struggling. So he's like, wait a second, I can't have that. So he started using a ligature, or I guess a string, or whatever I call it, so that, he doesn't get anything on him, you know what I mean?
So it wasn't until...
Because good old Gary couldn't have that, you know what I mean?
Wasn't until 2003.
And the messed up is his MO. What he would do, too, because he would even, these poor, young women, because I don't think, he would trick them and convince them, because they probably saw this creepy freaking dude. They're like, nah, F this. So he would show them a picture of his son.
Oh yeah. To get them to trust him.
And get them to trust him.
He's a nice guy. He's just looking to get banged.
Exactly. I can give you a quote. And let me see if I can find it. All right. There you go. Quote, I would talk to her and get her mind off the sex, anything she was nervous about, and think, she think, oh, this guy cares, which I didn't. I just want to get her in the vehicle and eventually kill her. Okay. So, right.
And again, we are not dealing with a moron here. No. In 2003, where he knows he will be dead to rights, convicted on 7 counts without any possibility of parole, he was looking at possible death sentence.
No,
so the death penalty was still
he was looking at death sentence. He was looking at death penalty.
So he copped the plea. It's amazing. Even a sick life like this wants to still live. And he would trade, because it becomes inconsequential and completely academic, whether he serves the convicted 48 life sentences and 10 years on top of each for evidence tampering, which again, sometimes you get super ridiculous.
48 life sentences plus 480 years. So
the evidence tampering. So to evade,
you will be there to the end of the world.
Yeah. To evade the death sentence, he copped a plea that he would tell them the rest of the bodies, where they're buried, names, descriptions, who they were, as much as he could,
right? So
that he doesn't get the lethal injection and all. As much of an outrage as this was with the state of Washington and with victims, it is understandable to the point of whether he lives another 50 years incarcerated, or he dies under the lethal injection in 2 weeks, those victims who will never be recovered, if there's a loved one out there for any of them, will go unsolved. So in the greater legal system, the plea was accepted.
Yeah.
And he went on to identify more of the bodies. And Izzy, take it away. What's the final count with that?
Piggybacking off of what you said, we have the Kings County prosecuting attorney, Norm Maleng, and quote, "We could have gone forward with 7 counts, but that is all we could have ever hoped to solve. At the end of the trial, whatever the outcome, there would be lingering doubts about the rest of these crimes. Disagreement was the avenue to the truth. And in the end, the search for the truth is why we have a justice system. Gary Ridgway does not deserve our mercy. He does not deserve to live. The mercy provided by today's resolution is directed not at Ridgway, but toward the families who have suffered so much." Okay, like he said, 48 life sentences with no parole and 1 life sentence to be served consecutively. He also sentenced another additional 10 years for each count for tampering with evidence for all 48 victims, adding 480 years to 48 life sentences.
Now, it's important to note, although he finally confessed for the 48 murders, he claims to have murdered at least 71.
Yes.
But he also, with the caveat of saying
he lost count.
He lost count.
Yeah.
So one of our earlier...
So many women, I have a hard time keeping them straight, was his quote. So that he remembers, it's 71.
Now, one of our earlier true crime investigation profiled one Samuel Little, who claimed 93 victims. And through his confessions, descriptions, paintings, I think in the high 60s or so were recovered in as far as unsolved mysteries solved. So with that credibility, of course, that 93 stands as the most prolific in U.S. history.
And Ridgway,
then puts, right, but then that puts him as second. So, you know, we're not handing out trophies today or any day, but it is a heavy number to register, something to digest, that a serial killer such as this, who stalked, God knows when he started, and mind you, due to lack of consequential and hardcore evidence, he kept going for years with a loss of count admission. It gets to a point, I know it's academic, whether this one's 93, this one's 100, this one's 94. You're talking about 100 people.
Yeah, I mean, and if you talk about his third wife, she, because he had mentioned that he started to bury the women because he did not want to have, didn't want to commit necrophilia, and she believed that that she saved lives because, and indirectly, because he was out there killing. All right.
I mean, thank God for small victories, I guess.
Murdering young women was his career, he said. He picked, like I said, he picked prostitutes because they were easy to pick up, and he hated most of them. I mean, we can go on and on. He killed them all in Kings County. He killed most of them by his house near Military Road, and in his truck, or not far from where he picked them up. He killed most of them outside, or some outside for that matter. He says he remembers leaving each woman's body in the place where she was found, and his ultimate plan was to kill as many women as he possibly could. I mean, you know about the clusters. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, honestly, I hadn't even heard about this guy up until I started researching, and I was like, whoa. I was blown away about the level of criminality, the level of sickness.
I mean, the fact that he got away with it for so long.
Yeah.
And married 3 times. You know, none of these women who were domestic abuse victims, who were sexually abused victims, had not suspected that his issues radiated past the home.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, the third wife, supposedly, he said he only killed 3 women after he was married to her. That she was a calming influence to him. Again,
thank God for small favors.
I mean,
So he is currently 72 years old, serving lifetime of lifetimes. Still alive because of the plea in Washington State. Without the
of course, keeping another piece of shit alive. Because, but I get it. I mean, this is more palatable than the other ones. I have to admit, So.
I mean, alive, sure. Where does it stipulate that he has to be in good care?
Well, he was. Yeah. Well, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, this is Rocca's brain.
You know what?
Rocca would let his victims come visit him for 5 minutes, the families.
You got 45 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, make them count. Boy, I tell you, I agree with you. When you brought this up to me, I faintly heard of him, but then I didn't really at all. Once I started to research and hear different documentaries, this is another level of animal. This truly is Ted Bundy territory. And Ted Bundy, to me, is one of the granddaddies of all, if not the poster boy for a sociopath. And we'd love to. I mean, that is a one heck of a deep dive for somebody who can completely disassociate himself emotionally. This guy was emotionally vested.
Yeah.
When he had a plan, he executed a plan, but it was all motivated by all these deep issues against prostitutes, his mom, sex, embarrassment, bedwetting, everything. He was so emotionally charged with this. That's why I was baffled when I read different things that said, a serial killer without a motive. Mofo had a big motive.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah, he had the ultimate motive.
Glaring. Are you kidding me?
His father, I mean, he wanted to emulate his father, what he did, and his mother treated him like shit. So, of course, he hates women. I mean, I'm not defending it by no means because, you need to, work those things out. But it's obvious, his stuff.
All right, folks. Again, we can't. There's no such thing as perfect justice, but he has been bars without the possibility of parole. It was a very highly publicized and covered media event for his trial.
It had a TV movie. They had another 25 also. It had some songs about him. Obviously, he's well known in the circles. Now, since getting into this stuff, I am, personally, I'm learning about all these, guys and gals, and it's crazy.
So there you have it. The Green River Killer and his crazy life story and eventual capture. I hope you've enjoyed. Remember to like and subscribe.
Always like, subscribe, comment.
Going.
Let us know if you like the stuff, and we can continue to give you more stuff like this. And get ready soon for our scary stories, which come in very, very soon.
Stay vigilant and save the whales.
Take care, guys.